Hello everyone, in this video we are going to learn about the sonnet number 19 when I consider how my light is spent by John Milton. We all know that sonnet consists of 14 lines which we will further see in line-wise explanation. John Milton was a prominent 17th century English poet, essayist, and political pamphleteer, most famous for his epic poem Paradise Lost. He was an advocate for liberty and free speech, participating in the political struggles of his time against King Charles I. Despite losing his sight, Milton continued to write, dictating works like Paradise Lost to scribes. His work, which explores religious and political themes, remains highly influential and respected in English literature. When I consider how my light is spent is a sonnet by John Milton reflecting on his blindness and questioning his ability to serve God. Now that his sight is lost, leading to the realization that true service to God involves accepting His will with patience rather than requiring active work or gifts, and that those who bear God's mild yoke by waiting patiently are serving Him best. Now let's take line-wise look at the sonnet. When I consider how my light is spent, explanation. The speaker reflects on the loss of his eyesight, symbolizing his personal tragedy. Light is a metaphor for his vision, and spent means it is used up or gone. Ere half my days in this dark world and wide, he realizes he went blind before the midpoint of his life, making the world feel dark and vast despite its breadth, and that one talent which is dead to hide. He refers to this poetic ability or talent, a gift from God that he cannot use. The phrase dead to hide alludes to the biblical parable of the talents, where burying a talent leads to master's wrath and eternal darkness. Lodged with me, useless, though my soul more bent, his talent is now lodged within him, rendered useless by his blindness. His soul, however, is even more inclined to serve God. To serve therewith my Maker and present. He desires to use his talent to serve God and to offer up his work as a record. My true account lest he returning chide. He fears God will find fault with him, like the Lord in the parable, for not fully using his gift and presenting a true account of his life. Doth God exact their labor light denied? He questions if God still expects him to perform the same demanding work now that his sight is gone, a foolish thought stemming from his own frustration. I fondly ask but patience to prevent. He recognizes his questions as foolish and proud. The personification of patience interrupts his murmur. That murmur soon replies, God doth not need. Patience quickly responds, stating that God does not require human work or his own gifts to function. Either man's work or his own gifts, who best? God does not depend on the work of humans or the gifts he has bestowed. Rather, it is how one bears life's struggles that matters. Bear his mild yoke, they serve him best, his state. Those who accept and bear God's gentle burden or yoke of life with grace and humility serve Him most effectively. Is kingly thousands at His bidding speed. God is a supreme King commanding legions of beings who rush to carry out His will and post over land and ocean without rest. These servants are always active and constantly moving to obey God's command across the world. They also serve who only stand and wait. This is the resolution, who cannot actively labor like the blind speaker, also serve God through their patience, faith, and acceptance of His will. The message of John Milton's When I Consider How My Light is Spent is about finding faith and service to God despite physical limitations and loss of purpose, ultimately concluding that true service comes from patiently accepting God's will as the divine does not need human works but rather willing hearts and minds to simply stand and wait. The poem explores the inner conflict of feeling one's talent are useless due to blindness but resolves with the comforting realization that patience and steadfastness in the face of hardship are themselves a form of service to God. List of glossary words. So, this is the end of the video. Hope you all understood and thank you for watching.